Hey guys, this is Grandmaster Eugene Perelshteyn for chessopeningsexplained.com, and today I want to share with you a very nice miniature against the Pirc defense. The Pirc, or the modern, starts after the move e4, g6. So specifically g6 is the modern move order. The Pirc usually starts with a d6. Honestly, both openings usually will transpose for us, so it doesn't matter. So after the move g6, d4, bishop g7, I played knight f3. Honestly, again, here it doesn't matter if you start with the move knight c3 or knight f3, because after d6, we're still gonna transpose to the game. So let me just go quickly through the opening moves: d6, knight c3, knight f6. And here comes very important kind of first moment of the game. Remember from our white book that this opening is very passive for black. So what does that mean? Well, black's pieces are cramped. Black's territory is limited to the first 3 rows, whereas white already took over the center and has a very nice control of the 4 rows. Well, at first it doesn't seem like a big deal, but that actually is the single most important driving point behind my next move. h3 exclam. You may not even notice the idea behind this little pawn move, but it is restricted against this bishop who wants to go to g4, eventually maybe trade for the knight or just put pressure and then open up the d7 square, or just simply more squares for black's pieces. Generally speaking, when you have space advantage, you don't want to allow your opponent to trade pieces. So this is the setup and the recommended line against the Pirc defense in our white book. So black tries to play c6 in this game. Here, this is a game that I played against a master back in 2001, and I believe this is one of my shortest victories in this opening against the master. So the idea behind c6 is to try to play b5. This is a thematic way to put indirect pressure against the e4 pawn by attacking my knight, and therefore you already guys can probably guess the idea for white. Restricting your opponent's counterplay is themed here. What are we gonna play here? Why don't you take a moment to guess? And the move is, of course, a4. Just like h3, this idea is to simply stop any expansion on the queen side, and black is kind of limited to what to do next. So my opponent decides to play b6. All right, no big deal. I just developed my bishop d3. Now he plays a6. Well, when you see your opponent playing too many pawn moves like that, something really has gone wrong with black's position. And I immediately take advantage of this after we both castle, and I play queen e2. This is a thematic idea to try to play for e5 and really point to your opponent that without the center, all of this sort of side action is really irrelevant. So he plays bishop b7. Honestly, e5 cannot be stopped. And here comes my idea. e5, breaking open files. So my opponent doesn't really have much of a choice. He plays knight e8. Obviously, taking on e5 is only going to favor white because the queen is poorly placed on d8, and one of my rooks, either this rook or after the bishop gets out, the a rook can start harassing the queen. And putting knight on d7 is always a big no-no. As you guys remember from my game against Magnus Carlsen, the thematic push e6, here I don't even get to sack any pawns, really destroys black. And after pawn takes, I can do pretty much whatever I want. I can take with the queen takes e6 check, followed by knight g5 with a really big advantage. Or I can play knight g5 right away, and black is more or less in trouble. So that's why after the move e5, he plays knight e8. And here I could already entertain the idea of playing e6. Again, this kind of trade would only favor me after pawn takes, queen takes, because the king is really poorly placed and this idea is virtually unstoppable. But here black has an interesting idea to his disposal. He doesn't have to take on the pawn. He can play maybe f5. and trying to get a fighting game. It's unclear whether the opponent's e6 is a strength or a weakness. In any way, I didn't really want to allow that, so I played the very thematic idea h4. You may question me, well, Eugene, you just played h3 and now you're playing h4. Aren't you wasting time? Well, not when your opponent's pieces are tied up on the back rank like that. I'm going for the direct attack, and the pawn on e5 is the critical soldier that completely isolates the queen side from the king side. His pieces simply don't have enough room to swing over and help the king, and my attack is more or less unstoppable. So my idea is try to open up the king with h5. My knight is going to join the party, and the attack more or less plays itself. He plays knight c7, trying to regroup. Here comes my knight. d5, I don't really care. I'm going to go to g5. He tries to get counterplay, and I swiftly stop it with c3. Very instructive pawn chain, guys. You've probably heard a lot of my lectures about pawn chains. Simply look where the pawn chain is pointing to. King side. Well, that's where white's attack is coming in. He plays knight c6. Finally, after 14 moves, black managed to develop the rest of his pieces, yet he's under severe attack. h5 exclam, and there's not much he can do about my attack. He tries e6, and here I really like the execution. All my pieces are perfectly placed to go for immediate sort of sacrificial attack, and with my next move, knight takes h7, even though this looks natural, you actually don't have to calculate till mate. You already know you're going to get lots of counterplay. Check, check, the second knight comes in, and here comes another pawn. The king is obviously totally naked. There's only one defender, and this idea is more or less unstoppable. He tried this rook f5 move to try to bail out by giving me the exchange, and I say, thanks, but no thanks. I'm just going to play queen h5 and checkmate you. Believe it or not, this position is completely lost. He played queen d7, and here I said, okay, at this moment, I'm just going to take and play e6, and he dutifully resigned. If knight takes, then check and check, forcing the king to protect the knight, and after rook e1, this position is completely unplayable. I could also insert it, by the way, really cute idea, queen f7 check 2. So many different ways to win. Another idea is maybe I can even take and then throw in the bishop check. Honestly, the attack plays itself in this position. Very easy to play. So let's go back here and try to understand how quickly black's position deteriorated. Well, I would say that the key idea is this move e5. Once I played e5 right here on move number 10, he is basically toast. He played knight e8, which allows me to bring in my h-pawn to open up the enemy lines, and the position is more or less lost. So this 24 move miniature, I really like, that shows you how you can attack against the passive player. Remember, I took a lot of space away from black with the moves h3 and a4, and later I was aggressive with e5 and h4 because all of these moves were more or less useless. a6, b6, c6 did not help black at all. Well, I hope you guys got to enjoy this game, and I want to see you apply these ideas in your own games. Thank you very much. This was Grandmaster Eugene Perelshteyn for ChessOpeningsExplained.com.